the back of a big win last week. I think it was important to get the chocolates. For most of the game, it was on Tasmania's terms, and they let it slip late, but they were able to sort of just grasp a win from the draws of defeat at the end, with Jai Menzies proving a hero, kicking it after the siren, and I think that'll give them a bit of a pep in their step and a bit of confidence heading into this encounter. A couple of changes for Tasmania, and they're going to have a bit of a different look with big Hamish Allen into the side. He'll add quite a bit. He's a very tall, rangy type. He'll sit deep forward, and he'll add headaches for the Stingrays. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the Stingrays bring to the table, Rowie. Namely Hayden Young, who's been a picture of consistency so far this year. I think he's averaging about 26 disposals so far, finding a lot of the footy and really leading from the front as skipper of this outfit.
Yeah, Hayden Young leads them in disposals, leads them in rebound 50s as well, with about 5.5 a game. So he's a key piece for the Dandenong side today. They're without a couple of big names. Ned Cahill, their leading goal kicker, he's out of the team today. Jack Toner, Corey Allison, George and Mounter are out of the side. But Mitch O'Neill's the other one in for Tasmania as well, who comes back from Allies duties. And there's a little bit of hype around Mitch O'Neill so far this season, and coming over from last season as well, where he was really, really good.
He was fantastic last year, of course. Played Allies football last year and performed at a really high level. He's a key plank in this Tasmanian side, and it'll be interesting to see whether he gets any attention. We've seen against a couple of teams so far this season, they have put in a little more defensive efforts to Mitch O'Neill because they know what sort of drive he gives Tasmania, what he can give them on the outside. He's a key mover, but it's going to be at the coalface where it's generally won and loss, and Tasmania really have to bring their A game inside if they're a sniff as they come out onto the field. And the famous map.
What have you made of Pat Walker's start to this under-18 campaign? He's probably one of the less heralded players, but he's leading the Devils in total disposals, 113 for the year so far, 18.8 a game. He leads in rebound 50s, he leads in marks. He's putting together a really nice campaign. Yeah,
I've really liked Pat Walker's season, and generally when Collins is getting a lot of the footy, Walker seems to have a really good connection back there, and he's been fantastic. A lot of the attention has probably been on the likes of Collins in the back half, including Matt McGuinness, but Walker's sort of flown under the radar, found plenty of the footy. He has been one of the strongest performers, if not the strongest performer across the season so far, and he's going to be important today. I think that's where Tasmania has been quite impressive thus far this season, is in the defensive 50. They've done a great job down there just to hold teams, and they're quite cool and calm under pressure, so they're going to need that up against a pretty fearsome outfit today.
Looks like Dandenong have won the toss. They'll kick to the left of screen, it would seem, or the Church Street end here at Bellerive in cricket parlance. So Tasmania will be kicking to the river end, or the David Boone stand end, in the first term. Really excited to see how this one pans out, and as I mentioned off the top, just a genuine test for Tasmania, who are playing their first season as a full-time entity in this competition. And we were speaking off air that we're sort of 6 weeks in to the season now, and this is sort of about how many games they would have played in the entirety of last year. 6 or 7 games under the old academy setup, so played their 6 games, and it's probably here and now where we'll start to see the difference between a full-time system for Tasmania and what we've had previously.
You'll also notice Chris Rowbottom as Adrian Fletcher runs to the box. He's accompanied by Tim Payne, who's actually spending a bit of time in the box today. So that's there you go. When you got the Australian cricket captain in the box with the Devils. I wonder what sort of insight he'll bring into it. Obviously done a lot of good work out here in the middle for a different sport.
Yeah, Tim Payne, he's one of those guys. He is the Australian cricket captain, but you always, if you live in Hobart, he's always here. You always see him around Bellerive. He runs water for the local footy teams. He's obviously involved in the Tigers cricket setup, and here he is today, which is fantastic to see. But it looks like we're just about all set to go. Players have taken their positions. The ball is in the hands of the umpire. Damien Gill, I'll pass it over to you for the opening bounce.
Jake Steele in the ruck for Tasmania. He'll do battle with Bailey Schmidt today. Umpire holds the ball aloft. The opening bounce here at Blundstone Arena. Schmidt with first hands to it. Down comes the footy. They'll feed it out and they'll move it forward with haste. Dandenong. It's gathered by Shaw. He feeds off. Mitch O'Neill's first touch is a scrappy kick forward. Asks a bit of the intended target. They bound away now, Dandenong. They'll kick it inside forward 50. The target was De Koning. Didn't get to him. They emerge now, Tasmania, through hands. They'll work it from full back. It's Agricultural from Shaw, arriving late, and over the back was Jackson. He couldn't bring it down, and out it goes.
So a couple of entries early for the Stingrays, one of which was a big spiral, unable to be taken, of course, as it comes back in. Steele and Schmidt to contest the ruck once more, and unable to be gathered cleanly by Burrows Cheng. Jackson gets ripped off the footy. It spills out. O'Neill tracks it back, unable to gather cleanly. Now it's in the hand of a Stingray. It's scrappy out there on the outer side, and we'll have another stoppage. Early doors in at this one. So just the usual sort of feeling out process here between the two teams as it goes up once more and unable to be gathered cleanly. O'Neill might have just hung on to his man. In fact, he did, and gave away a free kick. So another chance here for Dandenong to pump one inside 50. It'll be in the hands of Orchard with the loud fluoro boots. Goes deep inside 50. No one able to take the mark. It'll be rebounded immediately, but only as far as Clayton Gay. He had no one standing on the mark, so elected to go himself and puts through the first for Dandenong. That's a great finish, Clayton Gay. Opened up in front of him, played on immediately, and made no mistake.
Well, it was a scrappy kick out of defence from Tasmania. It was just a panicky effort, and Gay was just there, sort of just mopping off around the arc, and he never looked like missing that, really. Really nice finish. Flush and straight through the middle. So first blood goes the way of Dandenong here at Blundstone Arena. So back in the middle again. How will they respond? Schmidt now paddles it down straight for Reardon. He might just get a free kick. Advantage paid. Big Schmidt delivers long. De Koning the target on his chest, bounces off. Matt McGuinness with the job today. Finds Shaw. He'll switch from pocket to pocket. Lands in the arms of Simpson. Good inclusion into this Tasmanian side last week. On a wing, had the most touches. That's a shocker. Straight down the throat of Gay. He looks ahead. A crowded 50. Gay just pokes it. Nice bit of use, but coming across was Collins. Punching away from the intended target, and now it goes for a throw in. A bit of niggle, a bit of argy-bargy. That one's hurt Collins. He'll get a free kick. So, bit of ill discipline there from Jai Neal, rather. He's copped Collins. I don't think Collins is at all well here.
He looks in a bad way, Collins, taking a long time to get to his feet as they go on with it, the Tasmanians.
There's a bit of niggle. Burrows Cheng flies the flag. He's going to get a free kick. Originally, he came across just to get into him a little bit, and he was collected by Jai Neal. He's going to have to make his way off. And
yeah, he's bleeding from the lip, I think, or on the chin, and he was not happy about having to come off the field. He punched the ground.
So play goes on regardless. It's going to be a Pat Walker kick. So Collins looks in a spot of bother as Walker kicks out, looking for Callow, fisted away by Nguyen. He'll be brought in for a throw-in. Bit of niggle, bit of feeling early in this.
Yeah, don't mind it. I'm not entirely sure what happened with Collins, but it was enough to upset the Tasmanians and enough to bring Collins from the field. A little bit of claret. So in it comes once more. Tasmania looking to make their first foray forward. Ethan Jackson shoveled it out. It was Tasmanian's going after it. It fills out eventually to right off. He just tumbles one forward, and that might be out on the full if it come off the boot of Beringer.
I think it's going to be thrown in.
Said no.
Sunny day down here in Tassie. Don't know whether they would have expected this Dandenong.
No, it's beautiful here in Tasmania. Just a crisp, sort of sunshiny day. As it comes down again, Jackson was there. Stingray's trying to work things forward. It eventually falls out in the Tasmanian direction, but now the Stingrays with a chance to rebound. Good tackle. Burrows Cheng fields out a handball. Jackson in there. He's been pretty busy early as they just scrap and scrape and try to win something clean. Another good, strong tackle laid. And in fact, it's been called holding the ball. So Stingrays free kick will go to Hayden Young, who has been pretty prolific in the first 6 games of this NAB League series. Manscowan bounds away with it. The kick wasn't his finest. Stingrays still in possession. Reardon feeds it back to a teammate. He's got Beringer wide, and that's the way he goes. He's got one over the top if he wants it. He does. So here's Williams tracking it towards a boundary. He had Jake Steele to contend with, the big fella, and he wrapped him up. And the umpire said, "I'll have it, please."
I reckon he's a bit unlucky there, Jake Steele. I thought he braced for contact there. Good tackle nonetheless. Steele paddles down now. They'll work their way out of, I think, Goonan.
Yeah,
he's been
high fender.
Pinged for the high fend. So it's going to go the way of Davis, the skipper of this side. A young skipper, 17 years of age, and he's leading the Devils. He's led with aplomb so far this season. He goes in the Pepin direction! Hang time for Pepin! Now he kicks into the man of the mark. So 0-0. Come back the other way with GST. Picked up by McGuinness. And he'll cool the Jets and steer it into the arms of Shaw. Well, that is Will Pepin in a snapshot.
What a grab.
Fantastic grab. It's Lewis Johnson. Feeds to Viney. Goes through the corridor. Hands now to Davis. Davis inside forward 50. Not sure who he was looking for. It's chopped off by Young. He'll feed it out and they'll work it nicely. Dandenong. The intended target is Orchard. Gathers on the hop. Doesn't hit his target. It was well read by Tasmania through right off. He kicks forward looking for Callow. Couple of bites of the cherry. Doesn't complete the grab. They'll work their way out nicely. It's with Young. He's got a sure head on his shoulders. Steers in the arms of De Koning. Looks inside. A wobbly old kick. Shaw should meet this one. He does. He's got an option out. Uses it right off. Picks out Burrows Cheng. Negotiated that sticky situation pretty well. That's a dicey switch, but works okay so far. Lewis Johnson. Now for Viney. So Tasmania from defence. Finds Steele on the outer wing. He'll find Davis. This is good ball movement from Tasmania. Davis inside forward 50. Callow! Jackson Callow, the leading goal kicker for this Tasmanian side. Wheels around, delivering long. In best position was Newen out the back. Menzie won't get to him as it trickles over. A minor score. Tasmania on the board. They trail by 5 points.
Yeah, a couple of good passages from Tasmania. Good mitts from Callow. He's putting together a good campaign as well as Young brings it in. Hits a target right on the 50. Stingrays spread it wide. That's not a great kick as Jackson comes across to chop off. He's been pretty good early as well. He sees something short, threads the needle. It's a good one to Davis. Has a runner going past in McGuinness. He sets sail from beyond 50. It's long and strong. Has a man deep. He was unable to take the mark. Big Hamish Allen spilt the beans over the line for a boundary throw-in.
Hot start this from Tasmania.
We've got a free kick here maybe. No.
Just shielding the sun.
Yes. So it comes again, deep in the Tasmanian forward line. It's taken by Young, who's been very good early. Picked up immediately. Handball fed out. That's a very, very fortuitous, or almost fortuitous kick towards goal. And it cannons into the post for a minor score.
Young Bailey Gordon, something from nothing almost there. 2 minor scores. Tasmania, I think they're going to have to make their chances count when they do have the upper hand. So they'll bring it out of defence. That's a shocker from Young. Mansell drops the footy, though. They escape a nervy moment, Dandenong. Racing off his line was Collins. Read it well, but the bounce didn't do him any favours. Good to see him back out there, young Sam Collins. Gathers the footy. Drops in for Davis. Trying to shake off a tackle was Godomski. Now back for Walker and Collins. Collins, not his best handball, but Walker able to mop up and find Davis. Starting to get busy. Ollie Davis gets himself into all sorts. I think he's dropped it out. He has. So he'll be thrown in out of side here at Blundstone Arena as the crowd starts to slowly trickle in for the main game to come this evening. But a good contest early doors. So in it comes, Steele, and this time De Koning. He drops it at the foot for his runners. Out the back it comes, dropping off. Orchard, kicking in, almost, sure does enough. They'll work it out through hands now. It was Lewis Johnson, didn't find McGuinness. They're under the pump now. Good tackle from McGuinness, locks it in. Good tackle on Goonan. It'll be a stoppage inside forward 50 for the Stingrays. Neil to do the ruck work. Good hit out. Went to Jackson though, slipping through the fingers. Dandenong now, eyeing off a goal. Jackson butters up. King outside defensive 50. Off Gay hands. It's picked up by Callow, slipping through. I'll gather and drop it off. There he is, Gay. Eyes a second, offline. Out to the right, out on the full. So Collins to bring the ball back into play for Tasmania.
Sam Collins, he's a sure user of the ball off half-back. This one not his finest effort. It lands into the arms of an opposition player in keepers. So, play keepers for the Stingrays. Opts to go short and wide. Hits the intended target. It's Bravo. Pokes one inside 50, but Davis got back in the hole. He's got switch on if he wanted it in Harper. Elects against it. Goes short instead to Simpson. He goes one way then the other. Gives to Collins. You'd think he'd use it well. And he just goes for the safety of Harper in the end. Harper back inside sees, well, it was intended for Davis, but McGuinness got in front. Now he gives off to Davis. Tasmania have a couple out here. So Callow's running in support if he wants him. Goes inside to Jackson. Missed the handball. It's chopped off. Chance now for the Stingrays to reload. Here's Clayton Gay. He's been good. Thought about playing on. Umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. Ball came inside. It's a good one to Orchard. So Dandenong. Kick towards 50 is a good one from Orchard. They have it a little too far out to score, so the ball will come in long and strong, and there was a big fist over the back from Collins, who was fantastic. We'll have a boundary throw in deep in the Dandenong forward line. They're one straight 6, the Devils 2 behinds.
Great spoil there to deny Williamson, who just found a bit of separation on his defender, but it's a feature of the modern game, really. Good defenders coming across to help out. Steele with the uncontested hit out. That might be in the back. It's just a little over-exuberant from Godomski. Now they have a really good chance on goal here. Dandenong. March back and kick from about 30 metres out. William Bravo. Crosses the paint of 50, Bravo. Good purchase on the kick. Just got the journey in the end. It's a major for Dandenong. They extend their lead to 10 points.
Yeah, good finish. Really good finish. And an early buffer here for the Stingrays. Let's skip out to 10 points, as you say. Making the most of their opportunities. So often you see a lot of forward 50 entries and then nothing to show for it on the scoreboard, but Dandenong with a couple of early ones. So I'll be pretty happy with how things are going. is sun-drenched Bellerive, Blundstone Arena. So there's a little 666 warning here as Clayton Gay just makes his way inside the forward 50 for Dandenong. I think we're all set to go. So we are back in the middle. Rucks go at it. It was Allen and Schmidt. Schmidt decisively won the tap. Was unable to be gathered cleanly. Kick will come inside Dandenong forward 50 now. Another chance for a goal as to Koning. Tracks it back. He's got Matt McGuinness for company. He did really well to hassle him out of it. Couldn't get his own disposal. They'll reload here the Stingrays and go inside 50. Spilt down there by Walker. And they'll fight and scrap for the footy as the Devils keep it alive. And they'll look to rebound now. So there's a one-on-one contest on the wing. Good duel. Menzies was there. Eventually ends up in Stingray hands. They work it out by hand and go inside 50 again. And that's a good, strong mark taken. So it's Popper. Popper?
Yeah, good question. Darius Popper?
100%
I'm going to
certain,
go with Popper.
but I like the name.
The Party Popper.
Darius Party Popper. He'll kick right from 50. Won't have the journey. Look for a fly in the square. It's off hands over the back. McGuinness will eventually see it through for a behind.
So they extend the margin. Scoreboard hasn't caught up here at Blundstone Arena. He's definitely kicked 2 goals, Dandenong. Little one steered from Matt McGuinness into the pocket to Sam Collins. Usually pretty trusty. He goes back for McGuinness. So McGuinness off the left boot, long and raking, looking for Godomski. One bite, couldn't complete the grab. Has time just to cool the jets. His kick is a grubber. Out of play, good pressure by the Stingrays. I think that was applied by Declan Gould on that occasion. So the ball will come in again. Just harassed out of it was Allen. He'll get a free kick for it. Oh no, he's given one away. So they work it away from Schmidt, who hands out for the runners. Walker there as an extra. Drops it off for Shaw. Back for Walker. Paddy Walker with some space. Uses all of the time he had. Couldn't quite hit up Pepin. Now it comes in from the boot of Hines. It's a chaos ball. Gordon collects. Out through Simpson. He's looking long and strong. Looking in the direction of Stevenson. Couldn't reach him as Berringer got involved. Henry Berringer. Kicks long. They had a spare. All on his own. It's worked out well for Welsh. He delivers long, deep, pack forms, off hands, gathered by De Koning. Arches are back. He's scruffed to the ground. Fantastic tackle, Sam Collins. Oh, a little stabby kick, though, was let in the Stingrays. Reardon will kick from 20 out. And it should be pretty straightforward for a player of his quality.
Just sat it up, didn't he?
Sam Collins, just a little too much air on the kick. In pops Reardon, and he puts it through. So another for the Stingrays, their third of the game, starting to really put the foot down.
Yeah, it's all being played inside the Dandenong forward half at the moment. The couple of entries that Tasmania have had weren't particularly fruitful, as we can obviously see on the scoreboard.
Pretty sure it's 3-1, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
The Blundstone scoreboard just not looking after us here. But, well, Sam Collins, you saw the best of him and probably the worst of him there. But what I like is he'll take on that kick again.
Yeah, he will, and he'll likely hit it when he does attempt it again. So it's Dandenong with an early 17-point lead, 19 minutes gone in the first term as Tasmania look to find some sort of meaningful clearance. Gordon puts them inside 50, bouncing ball. I think it was Callow who just wheeled and when he has a man inside 50, had 2. Unable to take the mark, and the Stingrays now will run away with it through Williams. That's a pretty good kick and not a bad attempt at taking the mark on the wing. It'll be turned over though, fall into Tasmanian hands and eventually trickle over the boundary line.
Right off just a little bit proppy there.
As the changes flow on the Tasmanian bench, Davis makes his way on for Barrows Cheng. So boundary umpire tosses it in. Stingrays now. Kick toward 50. Collins went back with courage. He copped one in the chops. Umpire said play on. It was courageous. He did enough to affect the contest. He gets up. There'll be a Tasmanian free kick here.
Will go the way of Simpson as he finds Viney. Collins came in with a bit of an injury concern, and I tell you what, he's been in the wars today as this kick asked heaps of Ethan Jackson. Did enough to affect it as Orchard jumped in front. Orchard been fairly busy across the contest. So the ball to be thrown in. Allen with a stint in the ruck here, up against De Koning. They wrestle. De Koning best position, comes to Jackson, rides the tackle, finds Davis. Davis now, measured ball, Callow. He was almost tunnelled, I thought, as the hands come out. Young, Shaw by foot. Good contest provider. They'll race away now through Heath. Tasmania have done well to halt that. Out for Davis, found space when there was none. Right off though, tumbling ball, couldn't gather out the back. They'll work it well. Nanscowen lost the footy. Or bound the other way, Tasmania. Lewis Johnson eyeing it off. Couldn't quite gather. Gordon as well, fighting on hands and knees. Lewis Johnson does well. Out of traffic, finds Davis. Feeds it out. Tasmania through Simpson. It's a shocking kick, but he's got time on his side. Mansell now with a wing to himself. Assesses option. Kicks for Steele. Steele. Good grab. He's got Godomski over the top. That's where he heads. Godomski or Callow. It arrives in the arms of Callow. Unfortunately couldn't mark for Tasmania. And out it goes. So a stoppage inside forward 50. A rare one for Tasmania in this opening term. As we tick towards 22 minutes. In it comes. Steele down. Out the back eyeing off is Jackson. He's got a little bit on his opposing midfielder. That's a terrific hit. Wide to left, minor score.
Ethan Jackson screwed it around and it looked all right off the boot. As you say, minor score. As Young was a dicey old kick back in board. Pepin with a chance to swoop. He gathered the footy cleanly, but he was taken in a really strong tackle. So we'll have a stoppage inside forward 50 for Tasmania. Still searching for its first goal of this contest. Dandenong with a handful to kick us off. Down it comes. Davis fighting hard. He's been really good. Kick come out of the congestion. And it was mark not paid. Little left foot check side finish. Misses.
Had their chances, Rowie.
Yeah, they have. They register another behind. And we mentioned before, taking your chances when you do get the footy inside forward 50. Lockie Young brings it out with relative ease. Of pack forms, nobody able to quite take the mark as they fight for it on the outer side. Stingrays with a genuine chance now. Kick towards forward 50. Foot race on between a number of players from both teams. It's on hands and knees now. Chance for the Devils to work it out. Eventually the big dump kicks out toward a wing, but that's a nice mark taken by Gay. Kick short as the cries of 20 seconds emerge from the Dandenong bench. Davis picks up for Tasmania. Chance now for Jackson through the middle of the ground. Can he hit a target in Pepin? He was good. Devils need to get and go. Pops one over the top. He's got a man free, and Tasmania will have a set shot on goal.
I think it's that man, Jai Menzies.
It is. It's the hero from last week, Jai Menzies. So, pretty good hands to have it in. You know he's pretty calm under pressure. He gives it off to Matt McGuinness. He'll kick from right on 50. Sends it long and strong. Looks pretty good. Great finish, Matt McGuinness. He kicks Tasmania's first.
Well, that was just smart football, really, wasn't it? He went unchecked, Matt McGuinness. He saw an opportunity. He's got a long raking left boot on him. And Jai Menzies was wise enough to the situation to hand it off. And, well, fantastic goal right on the edge of quarter time. And it gives Tasmania some life in this contest.
Yeah, certainly does. They bring it back to, that scoreboard still isn't right. I think it's 9 points.
You're right, Rowie. So, pretty sure it's 3-1-19, 1-4-10. The siren sounds on the first term here at Blundstone Arena. A competitive quarter, one that belonged to Dandenong in a large part. They hold a 9-point advantage as it stands, but still game on. Who did you like in that opening term, Rowie?
I like the work of Clayton Gay for Dandenong early. Kicked that really nice goal to open the account for the Stingrays. Took a couple of nice marks across half forward and provided some real spark for the Stingrays. I liked Ollie Davis's work for Tasmania, and Sam Collins was pretty good as well, going back with the flight a couple of times. He did have one pretty ordinary turnover, but aside from that, I liked his game. Pepin took a hanger as well, which is always good to see.
He did indeed. Just look at the match stats, 54 kicks for Tasmania, so they've actually had more of the footy, 91 to 61 disposals, so just been a bit more efficient. The Stingrays inside 57 to 12, so they've had 12 inside 50s. Rebound 50s 9 to 6 the way of Tasmania, 23 marks to 17 tackles, dead even 7 apiece. Hit outs 9-6 the way of Dandenong, and frees 4-6-4. In terms of the major disposal getters for either side, as you mentioned, Ollie Davis been very busy. 10 touches to quarter time, 3 marks, 1 inside 50. Young, he's having a really consistent season for the Stingrays. 8 touches and 1 tackle. Matt McGuinness, we saw his goal just before quarter time. He's had 6 touches and a couple of marks. And Collins, as you mentioned, 5 touches and a mark. So pretty even contribution for Tasmania. They've got a few of the major ball winners, and Gay, who you mentioned, he's had 5 and a goal as well. So it's been a pretty good contest so far. More of the footy for Tasmania, but just been a little bit better with it at this point, Dandenong, and they've made it count on the scoreboard. Yeah,
well, 6 of the 7 top disposal winners have been Devils players. You mentioned Davis, McGuinness, Collins, Shaw, Lewis, Johnston and Jackson. To be fair, a few of those are defenders because it did spend a fair bit of time in Tasmania's back half. But Young, he's been pretty good and has continued his ball-winning ways for Dandenong. The 8 disposals, 5 kicks, 3 handballs for him. Clayton Gay, as we mentioned, he took 4 marks that quarter, so his mitts are on, and he's obviously being used as a bit of a target, like the works of Hines, Orchard and Schmidt as well. So, yeah, an interesting quarter, and it felt like Dandenong dominated it, but they didn't quite get the domination on the scoreboard that they might have liked.
Yeah, and I think in a large part Tasmania defended pretty well to deny that scoreboard dominance. But in the huddle right now, I guess step yourself into both the coaches, Coach Nick Cox for the Stingrays. How do you reckon he'd be feeling about things? And I guess what sort of messages do you think he'd be delivering?
He'd be feeling pretty good because generally weight of 450 entries will see you win the game. They had the majority of the play, forward of centre. In that half, Tasmania squandered a couple of chances early, but then they did manage to kick one through. Matt McGuinness. But if the game trends the same way that it is trending, with Dandenong controlling the footy in the forward half and getting the bulk of the forward 50 entries, then logic says they have to win the match. You don't see too often that a team dominates the entries and loses the game. And their defence has been pretty good to boot as well.
Now the counter side, Coach Adrian Fletcher, we're seeing him right there in the huddle right now. And we know he's a passionate sort of operator. What sort of words would he be saying to the Tasmania team at this point in time?
I think he'd be encouraging the team to continue to take the game on, move the ball as quickly as they can, use the corridor. Pretty basic stuff, but they looked pretty dangerous when they were moving it quickly through the middle of the ground, and they have guys like Callow presenting forward. Menzie got on the end of one late. So I think if they can catch the Dandenong team on the hop a little bit, use their leg speed, they've got some quite a bit of zip through the middle of the ground, Tasmania. If they can do that, continue to hit some targets up forward and just make the most of their chances. I think haven't got a score in front of me, but they kicked 1 goal 4, I think. So they had their chances. If they put a couple of those away, then they're going to be right in it.
Yeah, no question about it. We won't be too far away from resumption here. As we go back to the score, it is a 9-point advantage to the Dandenong Stingrays, who entered as the yardstick of the comp. They've been pretty efficient. 3 goals, 1 goal, 4 for Tasmania at this point in time. The goal coming late on in the piece through Matt McGuinness. It was a beautiful bit of work. He just peeled off from the back line. And it was the designated kicker and sent a raking ball from about 45, 50 metres out to land their first goal of the game and keep them in touch at quarter time. Stingrays, I think, they've probably got some really good outside class that will hold them in good stead. But Tasmania got to just keep battling away inside to really give them a hope in this one, I think.
Yeah, there was a couple of moments as well that Dandenong moved the ball pretty easily out of defence as well. So Lachlan Young, he's already looking to be the man to stop in the back half of the ground from a Tasmanian perspective, because he uses it really well and gets a lot of it. So the kick-ins as well, he generally is hitting targets to transfer play outside that back 50. And once they do have it, then, as you mentioned, some of their outside runners are able to link up, get that overlap, and start to really pump the ball inside 50. And weight of numbers, as I said, will result in a score eventually.
So siren sounds for the resumption of this NAB League contest. If you haven't yet, head to the App Store and download the app. Get all the live stats. Probably plenty of people out there watching it on the app. It's magnificent. So just make sure you keep across all things NAB League. Few players for Tasmania yet to get their hands on the footy, so they'll be looking for a bit more output from them.
Yeah, they certainly will. I'm sure.
The likes of Pepin, who can really ignite him. He's only had 2 touches. So there's plenty of upside. Big Hamish Allen back in the middle again. Hit out the way of Schmidt for Dandenong. Big bustling effort from Simpson. Hands it off for Jackson. Loses the footy, but he's got a goalkeeper in right off. Just overcooks the kick. Invites in Dandenong pressure. They go back and retreat, though, looking for Goonan. It was cut off well. Good bit of work here from Tasmania. It was Chugg who provided the initial contest, and Jackson with a follow-up. Back now for Simpson. He goes onto the outer wing. Finds O'Neill. Tasmania, good start to the second term. O'Neill, not sure who he was looking for with the kick. It's going to go against Tasmania. Eyes weren't on the ball from Burrows Ching. They'll move it out now. Dandenong, then Scowen, gets around 1. Takes a bounce, takes a second bounce. Will he take a third? Drops it off. Losing his footing was Young. It brought undone what was a promising bit of movement. Looking to extract was Mansell. Just feeds it out. Goes the way of the Stingrays. Showing a bit of pace there was Reardon. Delivering inside 50. Off hands. Falls now for Gould. Gould tackled. Soccering was Shaw. Picking up was Godomski. Nice bit of work. Walker picks out a target. And they're away now, Tasmania, through McGuinness. He finds Jackson. Took it on the half volley. Out the back was Pepin. Claimed high. He'll get a free kick.
So Pepin, you just mentioned him. Someone who hasn't had a great impact yet. Took a great mark in the first term. So he'll get a disposal here, courtesy of a head-high free kick. Looks down the line, unable to quite hit the target. As Ryan Mansell runs it out. And there's just a little bit of fire in this one. In fact, the umpire says, no, I'm not having it. I'm calling a high free kick as they pile on.
There's plenty going on.
Ryan Mansell gave some fair old treatment to his opponent and got some in return.
Callow's being mobbed on the ground.
I'm not sure what's happening here. The umpire needs to say play on or pay a 50 or something. They eventually get things resumed, but the kick wasn't a great one, as there's a little bit of afters as well. So Sam Collins to receive a 50 as tensions boil over here at Bellerive, Taccone came in with extra vigour.
There's genuine feeling.
I'm not sure if these two teams have much of a history against each other, but something certainly sparked something out there this afternoon as Callow marks at left half forward for Tasmania. He winds up. He looks to just dump it to the top of the square. Newen had good position. It'll fall out into the hands of Reardon as Dandenong now have a chance to rebound. Handball over the top was a good one. So there's a target out there on the wing. Unable to be hit was William Bravo, but he did well to gather. Kicks in board now to Goonan. So now Dandenong have a chance, and that's clean holding the ball. A wonderful bit of pressure as they're still going after it. That time it was Williams. So now Reithoff has it for Tasmania. Middle of Bellerive. Has a man free out wide. Uses him. Devils with the footy. Little kick's a good one to Mansell. Mansell pokes one short. Steady build-up play here. He has Simpson running into a hole. Elects to go a little bit longer, but he's picked out an opponent. So Dandenong have the footy inside defensive 50. Look to create the switch. Kick had to be pretty good. It was okay. Keepers made it probably look better than it was. Handball over the top. Dandenong looking to rebound now. Away they go, the Stingrays. Kicks a shocker. Turns it straight over into the hands of Walker. Short one's good. Burrows Cheng. Wheels around. Puts Tasmania inside 50. They've got the numbers here. Keepers come across the top, but the finish was provided from Stevenson. And Tasmania have another.
It was a beautiful deep entry, wasn't it? And they've started the second term with real intent, Tasmania. And I think that argy-bargy has sort of lit a fire underneath them. They're up and about. Stingrays, it was the kick of Berringer that let them down, really. They were up and away. It's just a little too cute by a foot. And it unravelled. So Tasmania draw to within 3 points. Gets the highly favoured Stingrays. Up it goes. Schmidt now, commanding hit out. Falls well to Godomski. Frees his arms and finds Burrows Cheng. Arches the back. Does well to find Steele. He just throws it on the boot. Not a pretty kick. Newen eyes it off and chops it off. From full back, Newen picks out his target in Welsh, who couldn't complete the grab. Here come Tasmania through Godomski. Tries to wrestle off a couple. He's in trouble now. Holding the footy. Really good tackle from Berringer. Did the full 360. So Berringer looks up. He's got a free man in Westworth. Doesn't head that way. Instead, looks for Goonan. Trying to claim a mark was Walker. Running into trouble was Jackson. Wrestled off it. Davis does well. They're out now, Tasmania. Still out on the full. Did well from congestion, but it was that last kick. Beat Berringer to reload again. Looks to switch. Overcooks the kick. Tasmania a sniff here. Whistle will bring it back. Well, fortune favours the Stingrays on this occasion. Little one from Berringer. Sold short there. But Nance Cowan, away he goes. A little grubber. Just short of keepers. He doesn't find his target. Jackson now inside forward 50. He's kicked it straight down the throat of Berringer. And he'll move it on to the outer wing.
So Berringer hits a target this time. They've got a player in the middle of the ground. They can get on their bike now through Westworth. His kick's a shocker though. McGuinness gets across and chops off for the Devils as he shields his eyes for the lowering sun. Short one into the middle of the ground. Had to be good. They've got a couple of players here to work it out. Collins was one of them. Fed a handball to nobody in particular. Reardon couldn't take it on the way through. Devils in possession now. Steele, who's had a bit of it in this term, fed it off to a player in Menzie. Kick to the top of the square, over the top of Newen. It'll fall out the back. And Tassie will get another goal and take the lead.
Big Hamish Allen. He spent a long time in rehab. and I think the boys will be happy to see him on the board. Such a big human.
Don't mind that as a contest deep between Newen and Allen. A couple of big key position guys.
I tell you what, Ollie Davis, there was just a moment there on the wing where he just showed a bit of composure, a cool head and sharp hands. They've got the lead here, Tasmania. So they've come from a fair way back in terms of how the contest has been played. It's down from Schmidt. How will Dandenong answer? They move it out of the middle through Haywood. It's a good grab. It's delivered inside, deep forward 50, off hands. It's going to be a free kick. So they play it on. They won't be allowed to. De Koning would have had a give me over the top. So it's going to be a definite shot for goal here. I think it's Nance. No, not Nance. Goonan, maybe. Hard to see from the far side of the ground. Marching up. Dandenong to reclaim the lead. Gets good purchase on the kick. Never looked like missing. So Dandenong, the immediate answer.
I think it was Popa.
You might be right. Darius Popper. It is indeed Darius Popper. So Darius Popper pops one through. Dandenong back in front.
Yeah, steadier for the Stingrays. 4-1-25. Tasmania 3-4-22. Approaching 10 minutes gone in this second term. Devils kicked the first two, of course. They're trailing by 9 points at quarter time.
It's a good contest, isn't it?
It is. It's been pretty good, the Devils. 7th place. 7th on the ladder against the table toppers. And the Stingrays, as it's one down. Another chance now for Tasmania. They'll win it out of the centre here. Mitch O'Neill kicks a high ball towards 50. Who can pluck a mark? That's a wonderful mark taken. In fact, the umpire said play on. It might have been touched. Callow arrived, fed out a little soccer. Menzies swung his man around it. It was gathered nicely by Gordon, who gave it to Callow. Pokey little ball inside 50 to be picked off by Berenger. It just went the required 15 as he plays on immediately to Newen. Has a man on the wing. It might just stay in. No. Umpire says it went out. Williamson unable to get there in time. So Pat Walker will take the free kick for Tasmania. He'll just go long towards half forward. That's a huge fly from Pepin. He's done that a couple of times today, but Callow stayed down and claimed the mark. He plays on immediately. Didn't know a man was coming. And the tackler did enough to affect the kick. Dandenong get the turnover, and Welsh will be the recipient here. Hemmed in on the boundary line, in defence, thought about the switch, didn't want to bite off more than he could chew. Eventually just popped one off in the Newen direction, who flew. Eventually fell to O'Neill, pushed off his kick. Scrappy, tumbly ball towards the middle of the ground. Contest forms, that's a nice mark taken. Umpire pays this one to Collins. So in he goes, neat kick into the bullseye. Devils now have the spread, although that was missed. Mansell missed his target. He had Will Harper, who managed to butter up nicely and tackle his Stingrays opponent and force a draw. We'll have a ball up on the outer side of the ground.
Big Hamish Allen in the ruck. Not sure who he's duelling with here. Be a midfielder. Has it on his own. Drops it off for Gordon. Slick hands from Davis. The outside runner Jackson. Back in board by Harper. The big Allen. Now for Gordon. Interesting kick. Won't work out for Tasmania. Feeding out the back with Dandenong, but Jackson was there. Davis now, a worm burner. He's cut off. They'll work it out of defence in the hands of Bravo. So Bravo, defensive half the wing. Kicks long, looking for the most recent goal kicker in Popper. Comes back from right off. Good mark by Menzies. Menzies now looking out the back. Bouncing ball for Stevenson. Can he kick a sausage? No, straight into the upright. Off the left boot and into the post.
Needed to go outside of the right that time. Just couldn't quite get the required bend. Dandenong bring it in now, Orchard. Runs around, Kicks out towards Newen, who had a job to do, but O'Neill was really good, forced the turnover. Stingrays will remain with the footy, though. Here they go now through Young. He's got a man on the lead and hits him.
An amazing kick.
Yeah, wonderful kick. Little handball off is a good one. The finish is even better. Well done to the Stingrays. Goonan kicks the goal.
That was fantastic footy, and it was all set up from Hayden Young. Unbelievable kick from half back. Just opened up the play. And then Goonan did well. Finished off. Made it look pretty easy, really.
Yeah, I think it was John Neal got massive separation on his opponent in Shaw. And Young was all over it. Hit the target. Handball receive. Goonan the finisher.
Good goal for Dandenong. They've answered the call. Tasmania with a hot start to the second term. They now trail by 7 points, so with a job to do. Up it goes again in the middle. Allen and Schmidt. It's all Dandenong at the fall, and they'll feed it out and they'll work it nicely through Haywood. There's a tumbly little ball. Lewis Johnson tackling now, trying to hold up Goonan. There'll be a stoppage inside forward 50 for the Stingrays. So top of the pops entering this round of NAB League footy. Allen now for the fall of Collins. Just hurries out a kick, looking for Godomski off hands. On the outside was O'Neill. He's done well. Gets by one, looking for Menzie. Perfect kick. Centimetre perfect. Off the left of Menzie. Not so perfect. A tumbling ball inside forward 50. It was picked up nicely. They'll work it out of defence now through Newen. He couldn't quite find Young. He's got a problem, but just looped it up nicely for Newen, who ran onto it. Back now for Young. He'll find his target. Off hands. It was the hands of Gould. Tasmania have done well. Burrows Cheng now. Eyes goal. Burrows Cheng instead opts to go for Stevenson. And it was a good grab taken under pressure by Stevenson. So he had to sit under it and wait. Williams providing very solid pressure. Stevenson. It's a tight angle. Takes about 2 steps and doesn't hit it nicely at all out on the full.
Doesn't hit the scoreboard, so tough chance there for Stevenson. He's kicked one already. It was a nice, well, if it was deliberate, it was nice from Burrows Cheng. He might have been going for the goal, but Tasmania ended up with a shot regardless, as Orchard, who's been pretty good today for Dandenong, takes it inside the forward 50, misses his target. Falcon. Dandenong will run away with it still. Chain of handballs. Gay just went the soccer style to kick it up beyond a wing, only as far as Collins. Fed out his handball to that man, Burrows Cheng. Had a man coming off the back in Lewis Johnston. He kicked wide, found a target. Chance now for Tasmania. Kick inside 50. 3 Stingrays to 1 Devil. Stingrays win out. They'll work the footy out here. Still a job to do. In fact, it's pounced upon by a Tasmanian Devil. And he makes them pay. Will Pepin, we spoke about him earlier and his impact on the game, and he certainly had an impact now. He kicks one. And the Stingrays, 5-1-31. The Devils, 4-5-29. Almost 17 minutes gone second term.
Fantastic finish there from Will Pepin. Got himself into the contest in this second term. Let's have Tasmania. Just 2 points in it. Fans here at Blundstone Arena that have arrived early for the AFL would be enjoying what they're seeing. Good contest between 2 good young sides. So back in the middle, Steele and Schmidt. Schmidt, a commanding hit out at the fall. They'll work it out. Will Tasmania. Jackson to Steele. Off to Simpson. He's got a runner in Gordon. Just overshoots his kick, but Menzie does enough to force a contest. And punching out was Max Gregory. Tasmania doing pretty well on the inside of the contest.
Yeah, they certainly are. Ethan Jackson has been a wrecking ball through there today.
So in it comes again. Shallow throw. Steele over the back. Burrows Cheng eyes it off. But emerging with it were the Stingrays. for Welsh. And he taps it off an opponent and out for yet another stoppage. So he'll be thrown in again. So 2 points the margin, the way of the travelling Stingrays. Steele and Schmidt just paddling down to his runners in Haywood. Haywood loses it over the back from Gordon. Off the left of Jackson. Callow does well to get separation, fumbles it, but straight into the arms of Menzie. Menzie doesn't hit it well at all, but it'll work out for Tasmania. The mark was dropped. Godomski now at the fall of the footy. Young, almost for Newen. Trying to kick out the air was Newen. Eventually, after a bit of a scrappy piece of play, it's helped out for a throw in deep. Forward 50 for the Devils. They've come to life in the second term. So we tick into the 18-minute mark. Callow just drops it off for Gordon. He's got a bit of space to craft a shot. Doesn't hit it all that well. Stevenson arrives, but Newen does. And he arrives quicker to take the grab. So Newen will bring it out of defence for the Stingrays.
So Newen tried to just bite off more than he could chew. And the kick's been chopped off by Burrows Cheng. So Burrows Cheng will kick for Tasmania's 5th goal and the lead.
4th of the quarter.
Flip the switch here, the Devils. They're enjoying things here at Bellerive Oval, Blundstone Arena. Curtain raiser to tonight's AFL clash. A little crowd forming on the hill. Burrows Cheng. He'll kick from just inside the paint of 50. Didn't make great connection. Probably won't get the legs. Newen browed it down, or did enough on the line. He tried to feed off a handball. Stingray's not out of trouble yet. Devils lurking. They'll do well to force a stoppage here. Stingray's under the pump. Umpire circles and says, "I'll have it, please." The Burrows Cheng kick fell short. Newen looked like he had the mark gobbled up. Just spilt the beans. So still a chance here for the Devils. As it goes up, Schmidt won it down. Players lurking. Young couldn't gather cleanly. Handball came out. Here go the Stingrays. Chance to rebound now off defensive 50, and that's a really nice ball. Umpire says, play on. Just moved off his line. Kicks up towards the wing. It's all Tasmania, though. Good mark taken by Viney. Oh, he's got options. Just dumps back down the line. Sees something he likes. Callow went up. Gordon come flashing through. 3 Stingrays get in the hole. And that's a free kick for over the shoulder. So a little bit of an arm wrestle forming here. Dandenong 5-1-31. They lead by 2 points over Tasmania. 4-5-29. Getting deep into this second turn. Kick comes up towards the wing. Mark taken by Piper. Gets the handball off. Worked by hand now to Welsh. He puts his man into a little bit of trouble. Now the Devils can run away with it. Handball inboard wasn't a great one. It was taken by Haywood. De Koning wanted the receive. Didn't get it. It's all locked up again. And we'll have another stoppage.
They're swarming at the moment, the Devils. Just no easy out there for Dandenong. Coach Adrian Fletcher would be happy with what he's seeing in terms of pressure. So still now with Schmidt. Schmidt just drops it down for his runners, but they're going nowhere. Burrows Cheng, he's going to have a few tackles today, I think. Climbing on top of Haywood. So the ruckman duel again. Just straight down to the feet. Jackson picks it up. Eventually gets a handball out. Reardon now with a bit of space. Kicking long. McGuinness eyes it off, but it was well interrupted by Neal. They've done well here, Dandenong. It's with keepers. He drops it back. Good pressure from Viney. Shaw in trouble. They keep it moving, Dandenong. Lewis Johnson, though, has numbers on his side. Right off out of defence. Kicking for Godomski. This way or that way. Shook off his defender, but can't shake the boundary line. Out it goes. It's a 2-point ball game. Dying embers of the second term. Blundstone Arena. Tasmania, 7th place entering this round. Really taking it up to the yardstick of the competition. There's a whistle. It's going to be rinse and repeat. The throw didn't have enough on it.
They bring them in too for the under-18s. The boundary throw-in, just to get a bit more penetration.
So Steele rucking up against keepers. It was a shocking throw again. Keepers down for the runners. All Tasmania. Out the back was Jackson. He does well to help it over the top for O'Neill. O'Neill with strong pressure on him. It's kicking for Mansell. It was very good courage by the big ruckman Schmidt. So Schmidt kicks forward, has a free man. Finds him well, it's keepers. So keepers slips over as he kicks, but it works out okay for him. Looks a fortune there. Crowded forward 50. He just pops it up. Does Nance Cowan. Pack forms off hands, falls into Dandenong arms. They'll feed it out the back. Foot race on now. Good tackle from Viney. Goonan couldn't slip it. Picking up well was Simpson. Now gathering is Lewis Johnson. He just pops it up. Contest. It's won by Simpson. Palms off one. Throws it on the boot. High. Callow has to compete against three. Out the back was the ruckman Schmidt. Drops it off to Berringer, who finds Newen. Back for Schmidt. Schmidt off the right boot. A bit of a chaos ball. Will be watched out by the Tasmania defence. A minute to run in this term.
So they're pressing here, the Stingrays. 5-1-31. They still hold that 2-point advantage. Tasmania 4-5-29. Had the better of this quarter. Been impressive, the Devils. So in it comes Dandenong. Looking for a goal here. The big fist came. Can they work something? Here's Gay. Kick the first of the game. Outside of the left boot towards the top of the square. Mark unable to be taken. There's a player flashing through in Nance Cowan. And there might have been called for an out on the full. I think the umpire said have a boundary throw in as they just continue to go after each other here, these two teams. There was some early action that involved Sam Collins and a blood rule. And ever since then, the tempers have stayed pretty high. So Steele won it down only as far as his Stingrays opponent. There was a man ripped off the ball off the back of the pack in Goonan. But it won't matter as the Stingrays take a 2-point lead into half-time in a match that, as we see now, continues to produce plenty of fireworks. And they're into it at half-time here. The Devils and the Rays. Players coming from all corners of the ground to get involved in this fracas. Umpires will have their work cut out here. Gee, tempers at boiling point. It's been simmering all game. There's been a couple of little incidents.
Still going.
And they're still going.
Well, this is...
So the umpires are really struggling to keep this under control here as this rolling maul of players, jumper punches being thrown. That's every player on the ground, including the benches, is currently in shot at the moment. As they eventually just go their separate ways, there's still some lip being thrown between the Devils and the Stingrays boys.
Well, as you said before, Rowie, they're off again.
Yeah, it's certainly are. Bravo certainly being dealt with as they eventually split up and go their separate ways. I'm not too sure if something has been said or if there's been anything in particular that's happened out there. I know there was the early incident with Collins, but certainly nothing massive to my eye.
It's hard to look at what sparked the fracas, but they don't like each other.
No, they
don't. That
don't.
much is clear, and as we said off the top, Tasmania are only sort of new to this competition, so history can't really be a factor.
Have they got the upstart factor about them? The young sort of GWS when they maybe entered the AFL, they had that sort of upstart quality about them that maybe some of the more established teams didn't like.
Whatever it is, it's interesting.
It certainly is, and they don't promote violence or anything like that, but there'd be a few older Tasmanian football fans, maybe in the stadium at the moment, don't mind a bit of that from the players in a map jumper, just standing up for themselves and just showing these Victorians what it's all about. But it is the Stingrays who do hold a 2-point lead. 5-1-31 at half-time. Tasmania 4-5-29. let's cast our minds to the actual football. How did you see that one unfolding in the second term? Tasmania certainly had the better of Dandenong in that second quarter.
Well, they did. They did in a big way. They trailed by 2 points, but it was a fantastic quarter when you look at how it unfolded for Tasmania. A 4-goal term for them. A 3-goal term, sorry. A really good quarter for the Devils. Statistically speaking, if you step through the stats, the hosts have had more of the footy. They've had it 42 more times. So Tasmania possessing the ball a lot more. Inside 50s, they actually took an advantage with one more to half-time. Rebound 50s is where the Dandenong Stingrays are on top, 17-14. So they're winning more of the footy, Tasmania, and I think that's been sort of sparked from inside dominance. They've been really strong in that space. In terms of hit out, well, in the ruck, I think Big Schmidt has probably been the dominant ruckman on the ground, and they've had the better of the free kicks. If you step through the major ball winners, Oliver Davis continued a really strong start. He had a fantastic first term, and the second term backed it up, 14 touches to half-time. Ethan Jackson, I really liked his quarter. He's just getting in there, getting right in the thick of the action. He's had 13 touches, and Young's been probably the best for Dandenong. Set up a goal with a long-raking boot from defence. He's had 13 touches.
Yeah, and again, 4 of the top 5 disposal winners have all been Tasmanian players, so they're certainly getting their hands on the footy. They haven't quite got the lead on the scoreboard, but it's close. 5-1-31 the Stingrays. They lead by 2 points over Tasmania at Blundstone Arena in the lead up to the big AFL game between North Melbourne and Sydney. They're 4-5-29.
We'll have a breather now from commentary and we'll be back with the second half. Stay with us here on NAB League. back at Blundstone Arena for the second half. Dandenong Stingrays on the road, and they hold a slender 2-point advantage as it stands. Still all to play for. As the two teams make their way back on the ground, the support staff make their way off. Chris Rowbottom, what do we expect from the second half?
Well, plenty of fire. We saw a fiery first half where there was lots of niggle and things spilled over into the halftime break. The two teams and every player on the ground was involved in a bit of a, I won't go as far to say a melee, but certainly fracas, push and shove, and it just continued a little bit longer than we might have thought. We weren't sure what might have been said or done out there on the field. We certainly didn't catch anything significant, but these two teams have been going at each other all afternoon. Big first half. Tasmania clawed their way back. 2 points in it at halftime. 5-1-31 the Stingrays. Devils 4-5 at 29, and started to get on top in the second term after Dandenong got off to a little bit of a flyer, and they lead the major stat categories. They've had more kicks, they've had more handballs, they've had more inside 50s, and they've taken more marks and laid more tackles. The only categories that the Stingrays lead in going into the second half is the rebound 50s, probably because it's been inside the Tasmanian forward 50 so much, and the hit-outs 20-11. They've also had 11 free kicks to 6. So it's about as evenly poised as you can get between these two teams. Tassie 7th, of course, on the table. The Stingrays on top. They're certainly the team to beat, and Tasmania have a real chance to do so.
They'd be wrapped, Tasmania, with how the first half has played out. Still a big job to do. They still trail, despite a really good second term. Hamish Allen thrown into the ruck. Up against Schmidt for the Dandenong Stingrays. Stingrays kicking to the left of screen. Schmidt now. Commanding hit out straight down Jackson's throat, and he's claimed in a good tackle. That was a really strong slap from Schmidt. Just taps this one at the foot, looking for the runners, Goonan, and then coming through was Orchard. Hands off now, shaking off a tackle nicely was Bravo, looking goalward. He's offline, well wide in fact, a minor score. So Tasmania survive. Early scare for the start of the third stanza. Matt McGuinness kicking for Allen. Allen off hands. It comes to Burrows Cheng kicking for Chug. Chug did well. Brought it to ground. Let in Harper. He finds Burrows Cheng. Hands off over the top. Pepin has a job to do now. Claimed in a really strong tackle from Williams. Forward 50 for the Devils. Just had to sit there and take it, didn't he, Will Pepin? So, umpire throws it up. Steele now, colliding with Schmidt. It's off Schmidt's hands, trickles out the back. It was good work by Reardon, feeding it out to Koning now. Keeps it alive. He does. Comes from Gay. Good kick in board. Finds Gould. Gould now. Finds Young. He never uses it poorly. Beautiful kick. Finds Neil.
Newen forward.
Neil, little one. Is a good one. Finds Nance Cowan. So really sharp stuff from the Stingrays. He's got Gay if he wants him, just offering left. Just lurking. Nance Cowan will back himself from the set shot. 40 metres out, starts right. Won't get the journey, helped over. A minor score.
Stingrays have made the move. Newen looks to have gone forward. He's playing a key post in defence for the first half, as he did, or has done, during big portions of this under-18s campaign. McGuinness brings it in. Tasmania unable to claim a mark, but they'll run it out of defence by hand. Kick up toward a wing now is looking for Jackson. Had to stand over it. Come out the back to Harper. Handball over the top now will find Jackson. He went over the top of his head. Harper couldn't effect a clean disposal. He was dragged off it eventually. Harper went in again with a strong tackle. And this Argy Bargy just continues. Just little hints of it still here early in the third term. Right in front of our broadcast position here at Blundstone Arena. Schmidt tried to bustle his way through. Good handball out from Goonan. Stingrays now. Schmidt again. He's a big lad. It might have been holding the ball. Crowd certainly thought so. Spilled free. Players converge and another whistle.
I'm not entirely sure he was actually tackled. I think he just dropped it.
Yeah. Interesting one, that. So up it goes again. Schmidt and Steele. Comes down to Haywood. Couldn't take it away. Schmidt goes in again. Geez, he's been good throwing his body around. Goonan was in there. Shoveled out. That man might have been held on to Koning. I think he was. Umpire said he was. So Dandenong will get the clearance here. Kick inside 50. There's a man directly underneath the ball. Had to fly to Collins. Did so. Couldn't quite complete the mark. Stingrays will come away with the footy through Nancowan. And he makes no mistake. They extend this lead.
Well, footy can be a cruel game at times. Collins did everything right except complete the grab. And it's resulted in a goal for the Stingrays.
Might be a little bit of dew starting to form out there as the temperature drops, and maybe the ball was just a little bit too slippery for Collins.
There's a slight chill in the air now as day is slowly turning tonight at Blundstone Arena. Of course, the curtain raiser to the North Melbourne Sydney Swans game a little bit later on. So Dandenong Stingrays with a 10-point advantage. Down from Schmidt, really starting to get involved, but his hit out wasn't great. Went straight to Godomski, kicking for Harper. Provides a contest. Out the back is Chugg. Interesting handball. Ends with Davis. He was claiming a great tackle. They'll work away. The awareness wasn't there. And it was a terrific tackle applied by Godomski. Just arrived and crunched into Welsh. So it'll be thrown in. Broadcast wing here at Blundstone Arena. In it comes. Allen in the ruck again. Schmidt just takes it. Throws it on the boot. Bouncing ball in the direction of Westworth. Didn't get to him as Lewis Johnson arrived. That's a scrappy kick from right off. Bouncing for Menzies. Didn't bounce for him. And Heath does well. Finds Westworth. Goes back. Good pressure applied from Tasmania. Menzies now. Ball blocked as he tried to kick into forward 50. And trickling out is the football. So a 10-point advantage for the Dandenong Stingrays away from home. A really good contest. Good heat in it. Two teams that aren't loving each other. Schmidt and Allen. Allen gets good position but gives away a free kick. So it'll be Schmidt's ball from half back.
So big Schmidt, who's imposed his size on this contest tonight. He's been dominant in the ruck. That kick wasn't his finest though. He turns it over into Tasmanian hands. That kick into the middle will find a Stingrays player. And they'll work things out here. In fact, it was a really, really good smother that came from Godomski. Chance now here for Tasmania. Right off, fed off the handball. Only as far as an opponent in keepers. Still winning the ball though. Gordon couldn't gather cleanly. Young was there. Now they get out the back door through Menzies. Smothered though. And it eventually trickled out of bounds.
Saw the cleanliness of Davis around the contest. It was a hot footy and he just fed out really nice handball to let in Menzies. But it's a hard ball to win at the moment, Chris Rowbottom.
As we mentioned, the mercury is certainly dropped and might be a little bit of dew starting to form out there as it slips and slides around on this Blundstone Arena surface. Ollie Davis tried to shovel something out. Eventually the kick came from Gordon. High ball, 2-on-1. Stingrays. Oh, wonderful grab. What a fly. Beautiful take from keepers. Gee, what a mark. The kick was pretty good too. Here's Schmidt.
He's starting to really have an influence.
He's a big unit, Schmidt. Little one is good to Williamson. He just pokes one up the line. So they're away now, the Stingrays. Off the boot of Welsh. Inside 50. Little fly from the side. Wasn't too bad. Mansell gave it to Collins. Viney Spreads it wide. Chance for Tasmania now as they rebound out of defence. Kick beyond a wing. It's all yellow jumpers. Really good job to affect the spoil. Couldn't win the ball though. Tasmania will go forward through Pepin. He goes one way then the other. Can he burn off an opponent? He takes a bounce. Just has to finish. And it was unable to do so.
That would have been a goal of the year contender, I reckon. They'll have to take it back as there were 2 footies on the ground. But yeah, that was fantastic from Pepin, all but the finish. So it'll be Young from full back for the Dandenong Stingrays. Big Young, long raking boot. But it was only Simpson of Tasmania. He sees something he likes in board, which is Davis. Got good separation on his opposing midfielder, Haywood. So Davis now, crowded forward 50. Just pokes into the pocket. It's a good kick for Callow. Really good defensive spoil, though, applied by Reardon. They'll make their way out of defence now, Dandenong. Good body position. Working under it was Simpson. He's crunched in a tackle. And it's a stoppage. So 4-6-30, the Tasmania Devils trail Dandenong Stingrays 6-3-39. The ball's up again. Allen paddling down, emerging from it for the Stingrays. Unconvincing bit of use there. Lets in Tasmania. Simpson again. Now Walker inside 50 for Tasmania. A bouncing ball well short of Callow, but he arrives and just interrupts the contest. De Koning shovels it out. Had an outside runner in Beringer. Couldn't find his target in Newen. And out it goes.
So 9 points. The Stingrays lead by 6-3-39. Tasmania 4-6-30. And it comes. It'll be Newen do the ruck work. Did he give away a free kick? There's a whistle. No, so it's Dandenong free.
Orchard, I think.
So Stingrays go by hand. Orchard with the 1-2. His receiving handball wasn't fantastic. Tasmania now with a chance to pounce. Handball over the top. Davis is there fighting hard, lays a strong tackle. And they'll force another stoppage here. No, it's a free kick. Might have been a little bit too enthusiastic in the tackle and caught his opponent high. Williamson goes wide. So Williams now for Dandenong, right in front of the hill at Bellreeve. Pack will form. Walker was at the back. Tasmania tried to just dash away with the ball, but it went over the line. Boundary throw in. So interesting little period here.
Next goal's pretty big, isn't it?
Next goal's massive, especially if it's a Dandenong goal. It'll spread that lead out to 15 points, which would just about be a game high. So ball on centre wing. Important one to be won. Umpire's blowing the whistle. It's holding the ball, so Tasmania will come away with it through Jackson. He just assesses what he has in front of him. Kicks toward half forward. Missed his mark. The man at the back in Godomski. Goes one way, then the other. Tumbling ball inside 50. Pepin on hands and knees. Fed it back out. Umpire played a free kick to Dandenong.
I think he said there that Pepin's fed that out with a throw.
So they just consider things, try and work things out. Beringer takes on his man, kicks beyond defensive 50. Gee, unrealistic fly there. That'll be in the back. Devils free kick. So they're just pressing here, the Devils. Jackson inboard to Collins. He can come across the Viney if he wants, or he can spear one low, and he does. That's a great kick. So right on the paint of 50. It's a Devils ball. Long ball in. It's all yellow jumpers down there. Big fist came. They'll run it out here with the Stingrays. Kick to a 2-on-1. Big fly. And that to be taken. Ball spills out of bounds in front of the scoreboard, which reads Dandenong 6-3-39, Tasmania 4-6-30. 12.5 gone. Third term.
9-point ball game here at Blundstone Arena. Ball to come back in. Schmidt's had a really good term up against the big man, Allen. Schmidt down for his runners, but Jackson gets involved. He's been good. Slaps it on the boot into the forward pocket. Asking a bit of Stevenson. He did well. Young Cohen Stevenson sees it over. Be thrown in right into the ground for the Devils. It's been a really good contest between two good outfits. Ball up in the air again. Schmidt in best position. Just paddled down and worked out now by Dandenong. Collins comes across. That's terrific defensive play. Floated across with aplomb. Took a really good grab. His kick had to be good and was. Gordon now drops off for Davis. Davis looking for Menzie. Couldn't quite get to him, but Menzie locks it in there. So inside forward 50 for Tasmania. Next goal all important. Schmidt in the ruck. Does what he pleases, but knocks it to Gordon. Gordon now for Callow. Oh, it slipped through his fingers at the crucial moment. Away they'll move now. Dandenong. It's in the arms of Williams. He kicks long, beyond defence. Gay. It's probably interrupted front on contact, but Chugg takes it. Looks goalward. They can raffle it off the Stingrays deep in defence. We'll move it out now. Through Behringer. Unrealistic attempt. Well, he got hands to it in the end. It's going to go the way of Tasmania. It was deemed a block. So that's worked out well for Jackson. A little nudgy one into the pocket. Whoa. Juggled over or paid? Paid, says the umpire. It's going to be a Will Harper ball. So Harper, this would take a sensational kick at goal. Hemmed in. Hard against the LED signage. This would be a tremendous finish. Comes out on the left, hangs it out nicely. It's not going to come back enough. Pack forms punch through. They cut the margin, but only by a point.
A pretty good connection, did Harper. I thought he was lucky to be claimed the mark. Thought he juggled it over as Williams dashes out of defence with the footy, receives again, and they'll kick up beyond a wing. So that was pretty easily worked from Dandenong. Kick wasn't able to hit the target, bounced over his head. Devils with a scrappy old kick, wanting O'Neill, in the middle of the ground. Reardon, handball over the top. Another stoppage, middle of Blundstone Arena. 8-point advantage, Dandenong, 6-3, 39. Devils 4-7, 31. 15 gone. Third term. Chance now for Dandenong. 2-on-1 inside 50. Devils will work this out well. Lewis Johnston. Handball back into defence to Viney. To Shaw. Sees something out wide. Hits the target. Godomski at half back. Pops it up toward a wing to a one-on-one contest. Had a player coming through. They keep it in the Devils. O'Neill was nudged off the ball. On hands and knees, a couple of players. In fact, there's a free kick being paid to Dandenong for in the back. So, O'Neill just getting into the back of Big Schmidt. He's been good today. Sends the ball towards half forward. Pack will fly. Collins. He's been good today. Another saving mark in defence. If there are AFL recruits today, although they won't like that handball, umpire pays the free kick. Advantage is paid. Might have been a little bit lucky to get out of that, the Devils. Short ball looking for Jackson. Finds him eventually. They work it by hand now, Tasmania. Mansell over the top. Jackson was clean. Picked it up. Found his man. They go through the middle of the ground now in Pepin. He'll run to 50. Opens it up. Kicks toward goal. Mark was unable to be taken. Nice bit of defence down there from the Stingrays. They'll eventually see it out. So they look dangerous when they get up and going, Tasmania, but nothing able to come from that forward foray as yet.
It's in the right into the ground, though, for the Devils as it comes in again. Steele. Maybe just reliving that mark in his head. Probably should have taken it. Someone slung off the ball behind play. It's Young So Young to bring it out of defence. A little ball inside. Finds Reardon. Reardon drops it off. Back for Young. Good by foot. Fantastic. Good grab taken as well by Bravo. So Bravo again dropping off. It's Orchard this time. Looking for Newen. Punched off his chest by Shaw. Terrific stuff. But it's back again from Bravo. Into forward 50. Sitting under it was Allen. Couldn't take the grab. Just paddling in the right direction was Westworth. Now he's got a problem. Picked up by McGuinness. Viney now out of defence. High and all yellow jumpers. Orchard now. Reece Orchard. Crowded 50. Just pops it up. Allen, the tall timber. Brings it down. But to the opposition. Nanscowen. Couldn't take it. Shaw, great kick. Well taken by Collins. Copped a bit of afters on the way through. Measured ball, good one. Burrows Cheng, brave footy here from the Devils. Handball didn't hit its target, but Godomski had time to mop up. Now it's a big kick through the middle from O'Neill. Not good at all. Will come back the other way. Gay the target, picks up on the half volley, backs himself in. Hands off, sets Orchard an almighty task. Coming in was Gordon. Still there is Young. Picking up his Gay. Runs out of tarmac. Will be a throw in, centre wing, broadcast side. Really good contests on show there. Either team wanting to give an inch. The boundary throw in. Schmidt and Allen. Big Allen just drops it down. Young, the target of the hit out. He just threw it out virtually. Doing well was Goonan, but it comes the way of Tasmania. Burrows Cheng kicks for touch, but it's all Dandenong. And Williams just takes the easiest of marks.
So Burrows Cheng came flashing through, only to turn the footy over. They're searching and searching here, Tasmania, but ball is currently in Dandenong hands as Heath gives to Williams. He spreads the footy wide. It's a good kick. Finds a target. Ball was spilt. Oh, the whistle went. Players stopped. They'll get out of this, Dandenong. They'll work it by hand. Reardon gathers. Took it on the second bite. They're trying to work their way through Dandenong. Tasmania having none of it. Spills out towards a wing. Players gather. And the Devils did well. So some good tackling pressure being applied. It's Big Schmidt. Thumps it towards the line. Chased out there by Goonan. He'll see it over. So who can break this deadlock here? Dandenong remain 8 points to the good here. A goal would be almighty as Schmidt attempts to take it out of the ruck. He's got Steele for company. Burrows Cheng went over it. Little kick only as far as Simpson. Now Tasmania through Godomski. Hits the target. It was a good kick to Menzie. He's got players streaming forward. He tries to bite one off in the middle of the ground. It's good to Gordon. That might be 50. No. So Gordon with clean hands, middle of the ground. Once he got forward of centre, kicks to a pack of Stingrays. It wasn't his finest. Young got across, couldn't take the mark. Still a chance here for Tasmania. Pepin is well smothered. And will go out of play. Right forward pocket.
Gordon can consider himself very lucky there. Just a miscommunication from the Stingrays made a very ordinary kick look okay.
Yes. It certainly did. Tasmania with a chance here. It's inside their forward 50. All came in. Dropped off. Another turnover. So Mansell takes the chest mark. Little one inboard is good. McGuinness. You see someone at the top of the 50. Hits his target. Wheels around. Looks to go into the pocket. Into the Harper direction. It spins around. There's still players circling. Handball comes out. Dandenong are going to rebound once again. Tasmania not getting any bang for their buck at the moment. Mansell takes a mark. Another chance for the Devils. See if they can make something of this. Again, he goes inboard to McGuinness. He's got a short option if he wants it. In right off. Goes a little deeper than that. Hits his target. So the Devils go inside 50. Newen at the front of the pack. Do they have a crummer at the front? Dandenong under pressure now, but they'll run it out again. They work it by hand. Here's Goonan. Concedes a little bit of ground. Kick had to be good. Williams took it on the half volley. That was good enough to find a target on the outer side.
They'll make their way out of defence now, Dandenong. That was an important passage of play. Hines now picking out his target in Westworth. So it'd be a real body blow if Dandenong could get the other way after a really solid patch from Tasmania without anything to show for it on the scoreboard. McGuinness brings it down to the fall where Davis does his best work. Finds Shaw and now Walker. Walker, good kick. Gordon got contact to it but didn't come away with a footy. Cries for kicking in danger. Mansell not happy at all. But play keeps on moving. Williams now kicking forward. Slipping through the fingers. McGuinness there at the fall. They just try and scrimmage it forward. It's just gathered and slapped on the boot by Williamson. Bouncing ball. Goalkeeper was Shaw. He'll find McGuinness. And McGuinness, you'd think, will go along with his kick with just 30 seconds remaining in the term. So Matt McGuinness goes a little shorter, finds Lewis Johnson. So maybe they can do something late here, Tasmania. They're going to have to get every kick right. So Lewis Johnson pops it up high. Big pack forms. Callow arrives, as does Newen. At the fall was Pepin. Shakes off a tackle. Gets the hands out. Gathered by Harper. Handball doesn't work for Tasmania. Out the back was Williams. Williams now in board. Siren sounds. So three-quarter time. We've got a beauty. Tasmania, for all their good work, actually end off a little worse off than they were at the half. 4-7-31. The Stingrays 6-3-39. A really, really exciting contest, this one. Chris Rowbottom.
It's all set up, isn't it? It's an 8-point margin going into this final term. Dandenong hit back after a dominant second term from Tasmania. But it was the Stingrays that time who probably took the points. Having said that, it's still very, very close. 6-3-39 to 4-7-31. We'll have a quick look at some of the leading disposal winners on the ground. Ethan Jackson's putting together a fine game. He's had 21, 10 kicks, 11 handballs and a mark. Ollie Davis has 20, 9 kicks and 11 handballs. Young for Dandenong has 18. Collins with 16. Big Schmidt, who really come into the game in that term. Big ruckman, who not only is he concisively won the hit-outs, he's also won his hands on the ball. He's had 15 disposals, 10 kicks, 5 handballs and 2 marks. Gordon was good for Tasmania there with 13 disposals. Orchard with 13 as well for Dandenong. Team-based stats, Tasmania still lead the kicks 162 to 136. They lead in handballs 120 to 97. They lead the inside 50s 37 to 29, and they've taken more marks 65 to 62. Dandenong have the better of the rebound 50s 33 to 22. So Tasmania lead all the statistical categories. They've had their hands on the ball the most. They've got the most disposals on the ground. But Dandenong have made more of their chances going forward. They have 6-3 to Tasmania's 4-7.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The back half of that term, I thought Tasmania dominated. They controlled the ball, but they just couldn't hit the scoreboard. And at the end of the day, can be a cruel game at times, AFL footy. You've just got to make your chances count, and that's what Dandenong did the other way early on in the term. They had a couple of chances and they made them count. So it's set up for a grandstand finish. It's going to take something special from Tasmania, given it's a pretty low-scoring affair. The margin of 8 points is a tantalising one. A good start is going to be needed. You'd think in the huddle here when they break into it, Tasmania. Adrian Fletcher would be pretty positive, though, because we are talking about 7th facing off against 1st. And it hasn't really looked like that, you got to say. No. It's been pretty tight.
No, this could easily be a top-of-the-table 1v2 sort of clash, such as the quality and the pressure I've really been impressed with as well from both teams, the tackling pressure. We didn't see as much spice in that quarter as we saw in the first half. There were tensions boiling over everywhere, and it came to a bit of a head at half-time, but things seemed to settle down in that third term. But certainly still, both teams going really hard at the footy and approaching the contest with vigour. I don't think there's any wind out there, or it certainly doesn't look to be any real breeze, but it seems to me that the scoring end is the Church Street end, or the left side of your screen. Tasmania certainly in the second term came out all guns blazing, kicking to that end, and in the third term it was Dandenong who looked to be on top when they were kicking to that end. So I don't think there's any breeze out there. I'm not sure if there's anything in that, but Tasmania are finishing with that
with
end,
the left of screen,
with the left of screen to finish this game. So maybe there might be something in there for the Devils. But yeah, they've held a really good account of themselves. Dandenong, they've been really good as well, really. I thought a lot the work of Williams in that third term there, and they tried to sort of shift Nguyen forward as well to try and take a mark. He sort of hit a couple of contests, but didn't have much impact. But it'll be fascinating to see how this one plays out in the fourth and final quarter.
Couldn't agree more. Now, at three-quarter time last week, I got a little whisper from the inner sanctum at the Devils that Adrian Fletcher promised his players a choc wedge if they got the chocolates. And they went and did in inspirational fashion, did it after the siren. Wondering what he's throwing up there, whether it's a maxi bomb this week or whether he ups the stakes. But no, they've been terrific, Tasmania, and this looks like being another nail-biter, and they're starting to be known for these nail-biters. Third one in a row, really tight contest. I've been very impressed with both sides, but in particular Tasmania, because I guess standing on coming into the contest, you know what you're going to get from them. They've got some really prime movers, but Tasmania, they would have been huge underdogs, and they've taken it right up to Dandenong. Now they've got 25 minutes to try and make good of it and get a result. Who do you fancy from here?
Oh, gee, it's a flip of a coin, really. I know that's a boring answer, but it genuinely is. I think that 8-point advantage could be cancelled out by the fact that they are kicking to the scoring end. If that does exist, the scoring end in this game, the thing with Tasmania is they've managed to put us, it is low scoring, 39-31, but they have managed to keep in touch without really having a big impact from Callow, who's been a big forward target for Tasmania during this under-18 series and has kicked 11 goals. He's their leading goal kicker for the tournament so far, or the season so far. He hasn't had a huge impact on this game, been really well held. So they have found other avenues to go. I'm really waiting for Will Pepin to do something special. He's threatened all game. He took a big mark early. He had a couple of flashy sort of shots on goal, and he could loom as an X-factor for Tasmania if they're to get over the line in this one. But if I had to put my hard-earned on it, I'd probably have to say Dandenong, maybe a little bit more class and a bit more polish around the ground at this stage. And looks like our man Nguyen's going into the ruck.
I like it. I like it from the Dandenong Stingrays. The coach, Nick Cox, not afraid to shuffle the magnets. So Nguyen, big Hamish Allen, his first game back in. He's provided a target. He'll get that touch and feel, you think, in the weeks to come. Tools are very important. And that's probably Tasmania's weakness throughout this season. They just haven't had their tools on the park. So back in the middle, last quarter, just 8 points in it. Grandstand finish on the way. Down from Nguyen. It's almost for Orchard. Fed out by Tasmania. O'Neill gathers. Been pretty quiet. Finds Walker. Coming out was Collins. Finds Mansell. This is good stuff for Tasmania. O'Neill now. Shakes inside. Doesn't get his kick away. Runs out of time. Good tackle from Orchard. So Orchard now looks to the outside. He was looking to find keepers and couldn't. So it'll be thrown in. Last quarter, it was a promising piece of movement from Tasmania. O'Neill just not aware of the situation. So in it comes again. Allen and Newen. Allen down, gathered by Davis. He's been heroic in the middle for Tassie. They'll make their way away from this stoppage. It's Nance Cowan. He drops it off. Goonan got himself in a bit of trouble. Walker just kicks it out of there. They want deliberate, and they get it. So it'll go Reardon's way. I'm not sure it's actually deliberate or a skill error, but it goes the way of Dandenong nonetheless. Reardon now, long, deep entry. A lot of Tassie jumpers under it. Collins got good hands to it. At the fall was O'Neill. Classy stuff. Breaks away. Looking for Menzie. And it's rushed out. And rushed out well by Dandenong. So it'll be a throw in. Centre wing, broadcast side here at Blundstone Arena. Still 8 points the margin.
Directly in front of where we're bringing the live stream to you from here at Blundstone Arena. Tasmania with a chance, but only as far as Reardon now. Has Newen running inside and he lopes towards 50. Little kick inside, wasn't his finest. It tried to skid on through, unable to hit a target. They fight after it. Defence arrives, call for a free kick. Umpire said play on. Still scrapping on hands and knees, both teams. Eventually, it'll be all locked in. We'll have a ball up. So the Dandenong forward 50. Attempt to extend this lead and make it really tough for Tasmania. Big Schmidt back into the ruck. He wins it down this time. There was a player flashing through. It's a kick on goal and it just misses. The left-hand side, minus score to the Stingrays. They're 6-4-40. Tasmania 4-7-31. Early doors in this fourth and final term. Devils have it via McGuinness. Deep in defence. He'll just kick as long as he can to a contest. Newen got underneath it. Couldn't get the fall of the ball. Williams. Handball out. He eventually finds it. He's tackled well. Turns it over. Burrows Cheng awaiting the handball up. Young on hands and knees. Eventually feeds it out. Can't find a teammate. And we will have another stoppage on the far side wing.
Slippery ball now.
Both teams have thrown everything at this contest so far, so who will outlast the other? Newen won it down. Reardon came flashing through. Kick came away via the boot. For Dandenong player, mark unable to be taken. Umpire said play on. Weaving and turning. Now it's Burrows Cheng in the middle of the ground. Missed his hand with the handball. Turnover. Dandenong ball. Away they come with it. Hands come from Orchard. Inside 50 now, the Rays. Backing back, almost a good mark taken. Oh, they could have butchered this. They eventually get boots a ball. And it's Gay with the finish. And gee, they almost made a meal of that. But all's well that ends well for Dandenong. They open up a 14-point lead. 4 minutes gone into this final term. They're 7-3-45. Tasmania 4-7-31.
It was the wrong kick, really. They should have kicked it to Schmidt. They had the numbers, and as you said, very nicely called from yourself, they nearly made a meal of it. In the end, I'm not sure how Gay manufactured the shot, but it doesn't matter, really. All that matters is another goal on the ball for the visitors. They open up a very handy 14-point buffer. Tasmania need to answer, and answer quick. Steele in the middle. Jackson eyes it off. He's battling with Orchard. Orchard threw it, but didn't touch his boot. Coming away was Reardon, losing the footy. A kick from Chug, lets in O'Neill. O'Neill claimed without it, was he? No whistle. Good swinging tackle. And a ball up on the paint of attacking 50 for Tasmania. Allen in the ruck up against Newen. I've liked that move already for Dandenong. Allen now taps. Numbers favour Dandenong. Good stuff by Goonan. Just gets it out in the nick of time. Away it comes from Nance Cowan. Out onto the wing. The kick inside forward 50 from Heath is good. Very good. Finds Gay.
He's been good. That was great movement.
So Clayton Gay, he's kicked a couple. And this would make it very, very difficult for Tasmania. The kick will take his best from just about 50 metres. Clayton Gay gives it an almighty ride. That is a ripper from Gay, his third of the day. And it might just be the first nail in Tasmania's coffin.
What a strike. Said it would take his best, but he did it easy. It was a wonderful hit of the footy. Clayton Gay, he's been a real force up forward for Dandenong today. You could say he's been the difference. The Stingrays skip out to a 20-point lead now. 8-3-51. Tassie, 4-7-31. 6.5 gone final term. Stingrays have the first two after taking an 8-point lead into this final quarter.
Geez, struck that sweetly, didn't he?
Just a beautiful kick of the footy. We go back in the middle. Jackson tracks it, gathers cleanly. Wonderfully done. Fed out a handball. Here go Tasmania. Mansell off half back. Can he find a target? Callow's been well held all day. And the battle is won once again by Beringer.
He's done a good job on Callow, hasn't he?
He's been very, very good. Callow has been a non-factor today. Hasn't been his usual self. All credit to that Dandenong defence. And it comes once again, big Schmidt over the top. Only as far as Davis was ripped off the ball. Orchard came flashing on through, trying to work it out. Schmidt goes after it, bustles on in. Comes out to Pepin, who tried to find a path. Kick came out to O'Neill, where he was cannon into the back. Ball eventually gathered. Tasmania have it. Little kick in board from Orchard wasn't bad. Had a runner going past. It was wrapped up well in a tackle, though. And we'll have another ball up as Ben Simpson emerges. So what can Tasmania do? Can they strike back? Can they breathe some life into this campaign that they're waging at the moment? They've only kicked 4 goals for the match. They trail by 20 points. So up it goes. Kick out of the congestion from Beringer. The Tasmanian player who takes the mark in Davis. Gets things moving immediately. Has someone deep. Unable to take the mark. It was Big Allen. Stingrays will work it out by hand. Eventually come away with the footy. They have it on the outer side. They continue things by hand. Here they go. Lost his footing. Loose ball on the wing. Steele. That's a wonderful tackle. And now Dandenong, they're streaming forward here. Chance now over the top. Shot on goal. Looks pretty good. Shaw got back. Played goalkeeper. In fact, it was kept in. Shaw. Hands. Clearing ball to nobody in particular now. Dandenong have another chance for a repeat entry. Heath. Handball over the top. Kick towards goal. Came from Hines. Big fly in the square. Was unable to be taken. And it'll spill over for a minor score.
A couple of really impressive efforts there from Shaw. Just to keep at bay Dandenong, but they're pressing in a big way. The kick onto the outer side, looking for Chug, is punched away by Young. It'll be a stoppage, far side. So 8-4-52. 4-7-31. Is that margin right? Not sure whether the scoreboard's let us down there, Rowie, or whether
I think that's it, 21 points.
21 points. It's hard to make a case for Tasmania, but they'll do their darndest. Here they come from Matt McGuinness, kicking for Harper off his hands. Oh, it's been paid a mark for Beringer. Beringer, not his best kick. Straight to Jackson. Tasmania, he switches up, finds Mansell. Mansell off for McGuinness. Looks inboard. Matt McGuinness, a deep entry. Flying well was O'Neill out the back. Allen flicks it on. O'Neill will poke it through. So Tasmania, they've got a heartbeat.
Back to 15 points. Really handy goal from Mitch O'Neill. the skipper. And who knows, Damien Gill? Who knows? Footy's a funny old game.
It's pretty clever stuff from Allen, actually. I don't know how he managed to squeeze the ball out. Mitch O'Neill's come into the game a little bit in this quarter. It's been pretty subdued for his standards.
Yeah, he hasn't been a huge factor in this game, but done a couple of nice things in his final term and gets a goal for his efforts. So this margin, an intriguing 15 points. 8-4-52 the Stingrays, 5-7-37 Tasmania. Ethan Jackson's been enormous all day. Kicks out towards a wing. He's got a man in space, just has to get the ball to sit to him. It did for Simpson. Had Collins coming off half-back. Just assessed his options before going out to Mansell. He had to beat one. He did so really, really well. Picked up cleanly. Looks in the Callow direction. Haven't called his name much this afternoon. Can we have an impact here? Kicks inboard to Gordon, who takes the mark, and Tasmania have a chance
50.
to kick a second. In fact, it'll be a certain goal as the 50-metre penalty's conceded. So Williams, the grave mistake. He'll send Gordon to the goal line. And Tasmania will rip this margin back even further. And there is well and truly a pulse now, Damien Gill.
Wowee. I don't know that Gordon would have been a certainty from 35-40 out, but he was from the goal line. It's fair to say the coach wouldn't be too rapt with Lockie Williams. Just overstepped. I don't know whether he thought the ball was touched or didn't travel the required journey, but nonetheless, it's made for a really intriguing finish here. Cutting the margin, it's 9 points. So the Devils have some pep in their step. Steele in the ruck against Schmidt. Bit of argy-bargy going on, as there has been for much of the game. Just slapped out of there by Schmidt, straight to Orchard. Climbing on top is Jackson. They go to work. There'll be another stoppage. Up it goes again, Schmidt. Commanding hit out, but it goes to Davis. Jinking one way and then the other was Godomski. He found Davis again. He's been enormous. Finds Jackson. Jackson does well. Nice measured ball. Superb. Finds O'Neill. Tasmania have their tails up.
Huge this. Huge kick.
So Mitch O'Neill to move forward. Kick will be all of 45 metres. Classy ball winner for this Tasmanian outfit. Back in the side today. This would really get the Tassie side going. Out to the right it starts. Has the journey. Splits the middle. Tasmania are up and about. Game on.
Yeah, nice finish from Mitch O'Neill. Leant back on the kick. Guided it home. Didn't try and put it through post high. Wonderful little finish. Margin back to 3 points. Dandenong 8-4-52, Tasmania 7-7-49. We spoke about the left-hand screen being the scoring end, and maybe, just maybe, there's something in it. As the dew starts to form, Blundstone Arena.
They're becoming the heart-stopper specialists as well, the Devils.
Well, we know what they can produce in last quarters. They won't go to bed, that's for sure. So we're back in the middle. Tasmania with a chance to go forward again through Davis. Can Callow take a mark? Big fist came from the back. There's runners there. Umpire spotted a free kick. It's going Tasmania's way. And this for the lead.
The big fella. Hamish Allen. Back in the side. Long stint in rehab. This would be huge.
So it was hard to see from up here, but there was a hold. De Koning maybe a little panicky as the ball came in. Hamish Allen's a fair lump of lad. Conceded the hold. Hamish Allen, with a Ben Brown-esque run-up, takes his full measure, ambles on in. The kick is on its way. The arms went straight up in the air, and Tasmania have the lead.
Wow, what a turnaround.
Well, the last 3 centre clearances have been to the Devils, and they've cashed in on every opportunity. They now lead 8-7-55 to 8-4-52. The lead was 21 points, Damien Gill.
Amazing. 21 points. I thought it was dead and buried. And Tasmania just won't go to sleep. They will not die in this contest. And a lot of the good work has been Ethan Jackson around the ball and Ollie Davis. They've been enormous. So back in the middle again. Schmidt with a commanding hit out straight to Orchard. Will Dandenong answer? Long forward entry. Arriving it's going to be a free kick. I think it's going to go. Yeah, it will go the way of Pat Walker. So arriving was Pat Walker and gets a free kick. Contact from Newen. So Walker out of defence. Jackson climbs high. So does Steele. Eludes both of them. Out the back is Pepin. He's just got to see it over. And see it over he does. So Tasmania, 3 points adrift. Trail for most of the day. Will they lead when it counts? All to be thrown in. Schmidt's been the dominant ruckman. He needs to get his hands on the footy for Dandenong. Paddles this one down. It lands in the feet of Gordon. He picks it up, looking for Pepin. Davis again, being enormous. Shakes off a tackler and runs it out. Be thrown in again. So we know NAB League footy are flat 25-minute quarters. We tick beyond 17 minutes. We're set for another heart stopper. Tasmania fans don't get it easy as it comes off the hands of Schmidt. Tasmania around the ball. Shepherd applied by Burrows Cheng. Davis on hands and knees. Feeds it out. Gordon almost. Picked up now. And away they go. Dandenong through Reardon. Good kick inside 50. Punch came at the crucial time from McGuinness on Newen. They've got numbers, Tasmania. Worked out nicely by Collins. Viney lost his footing. Trouble now. Trouble in a big way. Slapping on the boot was Gould, and he's offline.
Jeez. They get away with one there, the Devils. Viney lost his footing at the crucial moment. He was on his bum as Gould had a flying shot. It didn't quite make him pay. As the Devils now kick beyond 50. It'll be into Stingray's hands though. Kick inside 50. It'll fall. Is there a mark being paid? There has. And it looks like Williamson will emerge with the footy. It was a half kick inside 50. Williamson able to just edge his man. And a big kick for Ashton Williamson to regain the lead for Dandenong. So when he comes, Williamson strolls on in. It's a terrible, terrible kick off the side of the boot. Oh, guess who? Sam Collins climbs and marks.
You just wonder whether the atmosphere is starting to be a factor for Tasmania as well.
Well, it's not a huge crowd, but the AFL crowd is starting to build, and of course, will be heavily, heavily Tasmanian favoured. So out it goes now beyond 50. That's a good strong mark taken now by Callow, who's worked his way up the ground. He just rides the boundary line, hits a target too. So Tasmania can work it out here by hand by Harper. He goes by hand. He's got a man over the top in Burrows Cheng. He runs to the paint of 50. Flying shot it goes. There a mark in the back off hands, and it'll spill through. Or was it kept in? No. Minus score.
Probably got away with one there, Alan. I thought he just flat out pushed his opponent.
Well, they're really lax on that rule now, aren't they? The hands in the back.
Orchard brings it out of defence onto the outer wing. Schmidt had a big influence in that third term. Really got the Stingrays in a good position. As we tick close to 20 minutes, so only 5 minutes to run in this. Walker gets the sit. Doesn't complete the grab though. Scurry kick inside forward 50 through the fingertips of McGuinness. It's led in Dandenong. Viney crunching tackle. That's huge. The boy from Penguin. Oh no! Collins has given away a silly free kick. That could be incredibly costly. It was there too, Chris Rowbottom.
Yeah, reversal. Collins. Yeah, just no excuses for that.
So the kick from close range is finished off, and they let Collins know about it. And that is huge for the Stingrays. They reclaim a lead. Collins has had a fantastic game, but that one might sit in the memory bank.
There might not be a chalk wedge for Collins waiting for him after the game, win or lose. Although he has been fantastic all day, let's be honest. That was silly, though. A blemish on his name for Sam Collins as the Stingrays regain the lead. 9-5-59 to 8-8-56. Under 4 minutes remaining in this one. This game has had it all, especially in this final term. This man's been enormous. Davis kicks towards half forward. Really nice mark taken. Tasmania will look to get and go. Long kick inside 50. Pat will form. Was there a mark taken? No. Ball spilled to the front of the pack. Gee, I thought that was held on to for a second there. Umpire will have it. Crucial stoppage this for the Devils. Who can be the hero? Last week it was Menzie. Callow working hard. Was it a throw? Umpire said it was. Play on to the Stingrays. Kick outs wide. That's a free kick for front on contact. And the Stingrays will have the ball as we tick towards the 22-minute mark of this game.
They're killing the time here too.
Yeah, they're just soaking every second as time does become a factor. So the little short ball is good to Williams. And they're probably into the stage now where they can start thinking about just trying to retain some possession as Williams kicks long in the gay direction. He managed to get a fist to the ball and just create something. Burrows Ching over the head of him. It fell into the arms of Callow, though. He's been pretty good this final term. Little kick around the corner. It'll fall well here for Tasmania. That might have been a trip. Umpire said play on. Young, been good all day. Just snaps out of bounds on the full. So a chance here for the Devils, perhaps. Well, the officials there just threw the ball away. They don't stop the clock for that. So cheeky. Ollie Davis been huge. Devils go inside 50. Who can take a mark? One hand to it from O'Neill. It'll spill out of bounds, though. In that left forward pocket as time ticks down.
2 minutes to run here. Tasmania inside forward 50. 3 points adrift. Can they do it again? Ball thrown in. Callow in the ruck. Paddles down. Gordon just brings it to the fall. Did he have his shirt tugged? Nothing from the umpire. Jackson feeds it out. Gordon out now to Callow. Callow inside forward 50. A chaos ball. Sitting under it was Menzie, but Young, a terrific steadying grab. It's going to be hard from here. Young just into the pocket. Finds Williamson. They can just hold on to the ball. A minute to go in this game. Long. Pack forms. Plenty of green shirts. Away they'll emerge though. Dandenong. Good kick. No, it's not fantastic at all. But I tell you what, it's made to look okay by Nance Cowan. So 24 and 20 seconds gone. Flat 25-minute quarters. Thrown in. Ruckman to it. Schmidt. Terrific. To Gay. To Newen. And this might be game, set and match. Newen in absolutely no rush. He'll soak up all of the time remaining. So Tasmania are going to fall desperately short. They led deep in the quarter. Costly free kick. As the siren sounds, Stingrays will win. Just about the margin now. So Newen from about 45 metres kicks it out in the full. But they win the game, the Dandenong Stingrays. A flat feeling here in the stadium. Not many cheers for the travelling Dandenong outfit. Tasmania did terrifically well to push the ladder leaders right up to the final moments. But Dandenong walk away with the win.
As good as he was, Sam Collins won't sleep much tonight, I don't think. He was fantastic all day, took several goal-saving marks, used the footy beautifully. But the crucial moment gave away a free kick reversal. Tasmania had the ball and he gave the Stingrays a shot on goal, which, well, they cashed in on, and eventually it was the difference. They win 9-5-59 by 3 points, 8-8-56. Tasmania, though, will take plenty out of that game, knowing that they can take it up to the best teams in this competition. And not only that, they can beat them too on their day.
Fantastic contest here at Blundstone Arena. We hope you've enjoyed our coverage. It's been a pleasure bringing it to you live on the NAB League app and across NAB League YouTube. Bye for now.